Autoclaves are an integral part of our microbiology and biotechnology laboratories. They are used for sterilizing glassware, tips, and media, and for decontaminating biohazardous material. When working with an autoclave, high temperatures and high pressures are involved, so it is essential to adhere to safety practices. Autoclaves should be regularly maintained and certified annually. With each use, additional safety checks should be performed, such as inspecting door gaskets for cracks and replacing as needed. Let's take a look at a proper, safe use of an autoclave. Keep in mind that you will also be trained on your campus's autoclave before use. Inspect all glassware for cracks and ensure that the glass is autoclavable. Do not autoclave compromised glassware. For liquids, leave the caps of the containers loose to prevent explosion, or cover with foil. Liquids should fill no more than 2/3 the total volume of the glassware, while media should be no more than half the total volume. Place glassware in an autoclavable secondary container. This will catch any spillover from the materials being autoclaved. For red bags, secure with a twist tie or autoclave tape, leaving an opening the size of 2 fingers to allow steam to penetrate the bags. Red bags should also be placed in a secondary container. When using autoclaves, don PPE, which includes goggles, a lab coat, nitrile gloves, and heat-resistant gloves. Depending on your autoclave, check the jacket pressure before running a cycle. Jacket pressures typically range from 15 to 20 psi. When ready, place items on a rack inside the autoclave. Do not place items on the floor of the autoclave, and do not block the drain. Allow enough space between items for steam to flow, and do not overload the chamber. After loading the autoclave, close and lock the autoclave. At Valencia, the model of your autoclave may vary based on your campus, and therefore you may encounter different door lock mechanisms. Select the appropriate cycle. If you are unsure, check with your lab supervisor or your manufacturer's manual. Typically, the gravity cycle is used for glassware, utensils, and biohazard waste. The liquid cycle is used for liquids, as it has a slower exhaust to prevent boil-over. Once you start the cycle, make sure to log the cycle information in the lab's autoclave log. Before opening the door at the end of the cycle, first, check to ensure the temperature on the gauge has dropped to a safe range and the chamber pressure is at 0 psi. If your autoclave door swings open, stand behind the door and carefully open the door no more than 1 inch. This will release residual steam and allow pressure within liquids and containers to normalize. Allow the autoclaved load to stand for 10 minutes in the chamber. For other models, where the door opens outward and upward, step to the side and release the handle. After the initial burst of steam is released, push the handle up. Similarly, allow the autoclave load to stand for 10 minutes in the chamber. After the load has cooled for 10 minutes, cautiously remove the items as they will still be hot. Do not agitate liquids, as this may lead to boil-over, which can cause burning or scalding. Leave the door of the autoclave slightly ajar. Resealing it will shorten the lifespan of the rubber gaskets on the door. Place items in a safe area to cool. Autoclaves are easy to use and can be operated safely as long as you follow these safety guidelines. At Valencia, autoclaves are operated mostly by prep staff to provide sterile equipment and media for labs, and to decontaminate biohazardous materials. Biotechnology faculty and students may also operate autoclaves, depending on the course. Before using any autoclave at Valencia, you should first be trained by the lab manager or lab supervisor at your campus. During this hands-on training, you will learn more about the specific model used at your campus. Talk to your campus lab manager or lab supervisor to schedule training if you anticipate using the autoclave.